Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. This is Rocket Ship IAS Lab, and we would continue with our discussions on general studies papers of civil service main examination. Specifically, we would take up a question that you might come across in GS paper 3 of the mains. Here goes the question. Generative artificial intelligence has made great strides in the last few years. Discuss its prospects and the challenges associated with this novel form of technology, particularly in relation to India. So, the question requires you to discuss the prospects of generative artificial intelligence, which is a novel form of technology. And while doing so, you have to talk also about the challenges that India faces while it tries to harvest the prospects of Gen AI. So how we introduce our answer? We can, for an example, go with, you would have your own style, but we can go with current affairs. Some of you would be aware that ChatGPT was launched on this day, that is 30th November 2022, when it was almost a ground shake in the world of technology. It was the day when generative artificial chatbot, Gen AI chatbot, ChatGPT was launched, and it attracted wide coverage from technology circles, and ChatGPT was soon adopted by users for its intuitive ergonomy and its effectiveness in answering queries. What is really wonderful about ChatGPT? What is its beauty? That it is quite ergonomic. That is, it's very easy to use. It's almost intuitive, and in fact, it is effective too. The answer, the query answer that it gives out, are quite like to your you could say use. They are quite useful. Gen AI, that is GAI, are AI models that are trained on humongous amount of data. This is generally how we understand AI, and then learn patterns and structures. What Gen AI does, that Gen AI not only learns through the vast amount of data that it is trained on, but it in fact generates patterns and structures to produce new data in the form of text, videos, codes, etc. So not only it can interpret data, but it can actually generate new form of content in the form of text, videos, codes, etc. What makes them helpful is the input they require, which in the form of natural language, that is almost in the language of our daily conversation. That is, they do not require commands in the form of computer codes. Rather, they can understand everyday language. And how it helps actually, that due to their ability of understanding everyday language, even laymen can use them. You do not require any spatial understanding of computer. For an example, you do not require a knowledge of coding, programming, etc. Even then you can use the Gen AI models. Now, there is wide optimism for the prospects of GAI. And what are the causes of these prospects? What are the areas in which these prospects can be seen? First would be processing big data. Actually, as is usual for AI, Gen AI too can process big data. And how it is what differentiates it from other AI models of like the previous era is that Gen AI, it can not only process big data, but it can synthesize big data to create new content, as we were just talking about. It can recognize pattern based on its training, based on its understanding of data. It can automate repetitive tasks. For an example, customer support. Most of the tasks which come under customer support can be automated by Gen AI. It can democratize content creation. Till now, most of the content creation was in the hands of a few content creators. but Gen AI can actually democratize it and make most of us content generators as well. It can help in personalization, as in the areas of learning, medicine, etc. Moreover, it makes it possible to undertake cross disciplinary collaborations, for example, research and again developing actual products. Now, taking up these points in detail, Gen AI signals evolution of big data processing to suggest ready-made content. This content is in natural language that is understandable to laymen. The search queries, for example, give a summary rather than links. And again, how it differentiates from the search engines, that unlike search engines which give out some a list of links, it actually creates some content. It actually synthesizes the data to create content. Like most big data processing, GAI can recognize patterns. This pattern analysis can help in many ways. For an example, generating reliable statistics. Again, Gen AI can process this data, it can synthesize this data and give out some statistics on which we can actually take action. What is normally called, call to action. The content generated by Gen AI actually have a sense of call to action. Gen AI can help automate repetitive tasks like customer FAQs, that is customer queries, frequently asked questions. This would lead to focus on core tasks and result in operating efficiencies. Just give you an example, the primary task of say a bank is risk management. Again, it has to manage the risk, that is its primary task. But nowadays a great amount of time and energy is spent on attending to normal customer queries. Gen AI can actually make it possible to resolve most of the customer queries by the machine itself, so that the bank can focus on its core task of, say, risk management. GAI can democratize content creation, copywriting, etc. What copywriting means, that actually copywriters do write content for, say, some website, etc., some website, app, etc. They are copywriters. Again, this raises a question of potential job crisis, potential job losses due to Gen AI replacing the work of, for example, copywriter or customer support executives. But that is beside the point for this present question. We would discuss it some other day. Now, recognizing patterns and generating actionable prescriptions, Gen AI can help personalize learning solutions, medicine, etc. This would make these fields not only more result oriented but more inclusive too. Actually, just to give an example, not all students have the same pace of learning. And nowadays, what happens, that a student who is considered a slow learner would not be able to keep pace with the, you could say, the speed of pedagogy, the speed of teaching. But Gen AI help makes it possible to, for an example, you could again, you could change your speed of teaching to the requirement, to the understanding of the student. This is called personalization. This can also be done with the case of medicine too. For an example, different people would have their different genetic makeups, and they would respond differently to a particular drug. What Gen AI makes possible, that we could actually personalize the medicine to suit the actual genetic makeup of the patient. This would make Gen AI not only more effective, it would be more targeted to the, for an example, personal efficiency, but also make it more inclusive. Experts point to GAI's prospect in cross-disciplinary collaboration. For an example, pharmaceuticals industry has started using GAI to create processes that focus on target. These are more targeted processes. Analyzing a great amount of data, they can actually make the process more target oriented. Moreover, GAI coupled with machine learning can similarly reduce defects and inefficiencies in manufacturing. However, GAI comes with some challenges too. What are these challenges? First is the question of data sovereignty. As you would know by now that most of the GI platforms are transnational companies. This raises concerns for source countries like India. India being a country with a large population and most of whom have become screen addicts, it's a source of humongous amount of data, but it does not own the GenAI platforms. This raises questions of data sovereignty, that India does not have any control over the data that it generates. Intellectual property rights also. GenAI models are accused of training on proprietary data without suitable payments. Actually, there have been some complaints that ChatGPT is training on YouTube's proprietary data without actually paying YouTube anything in return. These things would become more important as GenAI progresses, and these things would have to be taken care of. The things like intellectual property rights and all those things. Fixing accountability. GenAI is not foolproof and exhibits hallucinations, that is, faulty results. Lacking human agency, GenAI lacks human agency. You cannot take it accountable. It is difficult to enforce accountability for potential harm. Just to give you an example, if you were to search the net worth of an academy's founder on Google Gemini gives a figure that is wide off the mark. We would actually wish them the best. We would actually wish an academy's founders the best, but I don't think they are anywhere near that form of net worth. So actually, this is a problem with GenAI, that it hallucinates. GAI may be misused to create fake news, deep fakes, etc. With concerns for societal tranquility, it can lead to societal disharmony, respect for one's personal autonomy, etc. Again, this can be there can be cases where people's personal boundaries, people's personal freedom would not be respected. GenAI and deepfake can lead to such situations. Now, a brief prescription, a brief advice that we are making here, that India should incentivize R&D, consult the stakeholders to define framework for GenAI. So, this is how we sum up our answer for today. We would reassemble for the next lecture in a few days. As usual, we wish you all the best. Thank you.